Okay, so tools needed for this installation is a socket wrench with a deep well 15/16 socket, a 11/32 wrench, a pair of channel locks, a pair of side cuts, a Phillips screwdriver, a Sharpie, a 11/64 drill bit, a step drill bit, and any old drill. And that's what you need for the installation of a fuel module upgrade. Now we're going to do the fuel module upgrade. This will basically be the same for your 3rd gen up to your 5th gen. 2nd gens are a little different just because of the configuration of the basket. But right now we're going to go ahead and prep this fuel module upgrade before we actually install it. So what you need to do is, this is what your fuel module looks like. We went ahead and removed the sending unit arm just to get it out of the way so we don't damage anything. We'll go ahead and cut the power and ground up here by the connector. We'll go ahead and cut these cable ties as well. So as you can see up here, that's where I cut the lines, or the power and ground wires. What we want to do is take the electric motor out. You can do this 2 ways. You can unclip this and take it out neatly, or since we aren't needing anything in this basket, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and cut it at these 3 points here and then remove the motor itself. Okay, now that I've done that, the motor is now free. So on our fuel module upgrade, this is your normal suction line right here, your 3/8 line, and your 5/16 line is your engine return. So with this fuel module upgrade, basically what it is a bulkhead fitting that's now a 1/2 inch that'll go into the top of the basket, and this will be your new suction line. So your old feed line is now going to be your air dog return, and then your engine return still connects to the top of the module itself. So with these lines down here, we won't need these connected anymore. So I'll go ahead and cut these, and that way I can remove the entire motor assembly. And be sure not to cut your sending unit wires, because you will need these to read your fuel level. They're the blue wires. Okay, now with that, to remove the motor now, we'll go ahead and disconnect this connector at the top so it can feed it through so we don't damage these wires. And now you can go ahead and remove this motor assembly. And then we'll take the plug and plug it back in the top so we can still read the fuel level. Now one thing to note, if this is not on a brand new truck, a lot of the times when you take this out, you'll see this screen is pretty plugged. So just depends on what the quality of fuel you get. So we won't be needing this anymore, so we can go ahead and set this to the side. And then we'll clean out the basket of the shavings that we broke. So now we just have basically a gutted fuel module. And to get started, let's just go over what comes in the fuel module upgrade kit before we install it. Okay, so this is your fuel module upgrade kit. It basically is a draw straw, a flexible draw straw that goes down into your fuel module, so you don't have to drill any holes in your tank or anything like that. You just modify your module. So if you ever sell your truck or something, ever want to go back to stock, all you have to do is drop a new module in it and it'll be good to go. So what's included in the kit is your bulkhead fitting with your seal, nut, and a washer. This aluminum washer here is for second gens. A lot of times they have like a flexible rubber piece at the top of the module that this will actually go into, and then your bulkhead will go into it. But since this is for a 3rd gen to 4th gen module, we won't be needing this, so we'll set this to the side. This is your bracket that goes down into your fuel module to hold the straw. Then we have your cap screws for your bracket. Then we have your clamps for the straws themselves. Then we have your flexible tube, your straight tube, and some zip ties for your wiring if you need them. Okay, so now let's go ahead and install these parts. On these 5th gen modules and possibly some 4th gen modules, there's a nice space right here to put your bulkhead fitting. So what I'm going to do is I'll drill a hole right here. What I want to do for spacing first is just to make sure that, just to kind of eyeball it, make sure that this washer is still going to fit on the bottom, which looks like it will. So at first I'm going to drill a pilot hole just to figure out where I want it. So as center as possible, probably. So what I like to use for these two are these step bits because they make nice cuts and they don't catch as much as, say, a large normal drill bit. The hole that we'll need to drill a 5/8 hole in the top of this module. So this step bit goes up to, all the way up to 3/4, so we're good there. Let me stand up for this actually. So we'll go ahead and start drilling. And there you go. There's your 5/8 hole. This is your bulkhead fitting. It'll fit in here just like this. Let me go ahead and clean up these plastic shavings. Alright, so now we drilled our 5/8 hole. We'll go ahead and put the bulkhead fitting in. Next will go your washer and then your nylon lock nut. Now for this step, it is pretty hard to get this in here, so we may need to walk out and put this bulkhead fitting in a vise. Make sure that your bulkhead fitting is pointed in the right direction as well, however you want to orient it before you tighten it down. Okay, now the next step is to install this bracket for your straw down in the, basically this is what holds the non-flexible straw at the bottom of the basket. So in order to do this, instead of trying to mark holes and whatever on the inside, just kind of get an idea. Just kind of get an idea on where you want it to be inside the basket, and then come to the outside of the basket and then mark your holes, and this is where you want to drill. So what I like to do is on these, there's a nice, almost like an indentation here, nice surface to make your marks and drill holes. So we'll go ahead and do that. Use your Sharpie, just mark where you want to drill. So the drill bit size we're using for this is a 11/64. You may want to go one size bigger just to make it a little easier on you. And there you have your 2 holes. So now we can go ahead and install that bracket on the inside of this basket using your little cap screws and nylon nuts here. You'll need a screwdriver and a 11/32 wrench. Just like so. Now, to make this easier too, what I like to do is go ahead and bend this out of the way. That way you can get your wrench down in there a lot easier. And then you can just bend it back once you get everything tight. I don't know if you can see in there. Go ahead and put on your nylon nuts. Go ahead and tighten everything down. Once those are tightened, you go ahead and bend this bracket back down. And that's what holds your straw down at the bottom. So next what we want to do is place this straw in here. Get an idea where it's going to go. And then you don't need it to stick up this far because you need some room for this flexible straw to flex. So what we'll do is this surface here is as far up as you want that straw to go into the flexible straw. So we'll go ahead and set this on the bracket itself. Mark your hard straw here, and then we'll go ahead and trim that to size. Okay, now that we have your straw trimmed, we'll go ahead and put it down in the bottom of the basket. And this is the part to where we will install our flexible straw. So you'll notice these clamps here. So we'll go ahead and put the clamps on both sides, just down a little bit so they're on the straw before you install it. So now we can go ahead and install our flexible straw. So we'll go ahead and press it onto the bulkhead fitting, just like so. And we'll go ahead and move the clamps up onto it. Hold it in place and make sure we get a good seal. Just like so. And then we'll go ahead and press the flexible end, or the other end, onto the straw down here, just like that. And we'll go ahead and move the clamps into place on this as well. Just like that. The last thing we'll need to do is actually drill holes in the bottom of this basket to allow it to fill. This is a good demonstration of basically what it does down to in your tank itself. So when it compresses, the straw compresses, and it still leaves this hard straw here at the bottom of the module, so you won't run into quarter tank issues. You don't have to trim this thing exactly to size. It goes in your basket, compresses, is at the bottom of the fuel tank. And you don't want to forget this step because you'll run dry because it won't be pulling as much fuel into the basket as what the air dog is going to be pulling for the pump itself or for the truck. And that concludes the fuel module upgrade install.